So the actual ending of our marriage in June 2019, I think we should go into that a little bit with a little bit more detail. What was actually going on, what was actually happening that weekend. For me, what started my sobbing and knowledge that it was over was something that happened earlier in the evening. And you had said to me that you wanted to pursue me. And you had never. Honestly. That too. Am I exaggerating?
No, I had said I've always wanted to pursue you, but I've always been blocked, or I've never been able to do so, or step outside myself, or have some kind of excuse to say, here's why I have not done so. Even as you were sobbing, even as you were saying, hey, see me.
Yeah, you said it with your mouth, but you could not in yourself care enough about me to actually even care what I was going through at that moment. And I think that was like, I'm not going to say the final straw because that sounds like it was like the final breaking, but I think it was the final awareness in me that I had needs and I had desires about a relationship. And they were mine. They were completely mine. But in this marriage, in this relationship, they would never be realized. I mean, it took you staring at me while I just achingly sobbed. So it needed to happen.
I had to cross the threshold of deciding that what I was saying, coming out of my mouth, and what I was saying existed in my heart was made real. I had to take actions to make it real. I had to make...
Yeah, but that's only after the fact that you, right? Like that,
That's correct.
That weekend, like that, those are conversations we've had since that point. But that weekend, what were you thinking?
I was thinking, like, I told myself that I can't, not everybody can have what they want, or not everybody can have the expression that they wish they could say. I mean, I was telling myself that what I wanted, I couldn't follow through on, and that I had...
What did you want?
I wanted...
Like, we've never talked about that weekend. Really?
No.
So what did you want?
I wanted myself to be laid bare. I wanted to be able to be honest with you and myself. See, honesty was still a factor. One of the reasons that you were breaking down was because honesty was not forthcoming with me.
Well, we had already established that your drug of choice was avoidance.
And that's a whole separate video. But that weekend was the culmination of all the pent up barricades that I had in myself that were still there. You were feeling my barricades, and I was simply sitting there saying, these barricades ain't coming down. This is just who I am. This is, this is going to be what's on my tombstone. That's where I felt. And that's why I was able to sit there and watch you sob.
So you were able to say on one hand, like in your logic, you wanted to be close to me. But in your soul, you didn't really want it because you didn't want to do what was needed or necessary for you to even get what you wanted.
I'll make it more honest, and I'll make it kind of worse. I told myself that there's a reason that I can't do it, and I don't know what that reason is.
And it's probably me.
Well, wait. No, in all honesty, that reason was unknown and therefore undecipherable, and so destiny might prove that it just could never work out.
So this was our destiny, is to be done. I think that's what I felt from you forever. But I think it became, like, I think I had a storyline in my head. Even through the separation, even through knowing we were ending, I still had this like fairy tale storyline in my head that I was still clinging to. And that weekend, the book closed. I've never experienced that level of grief. I've never had someone close, very, very close to me die. I've never had a child engaged in something. So I can say I've lived a charmed life in that perspective. Like, I've never actually felt what grief feels like, real grief feels like, up until that point. And I know that that's a charmed life, but it was grief. It was sobs I could not control, coming from somewhere deep inside me that I didn't even know existed.
Your sobs were there because in my mind and in my heart I was saying, can I really live a life on my own? Can I really just say, hey, we're done here, and have my own existence and have my own reality, as awesome or as humble as it may be? Maybe I'm a wreck, maybe I'm miserable, or maybe, I'm awesome and things are really cool and it works out. Doesn't that happen to people?
Right, like maybe it would work out with someone else.
Right, like I had gone there and found it to be lacking.
But we both knew it was over. Remember, you told me on Sunday that you had checked on me a couple of times, but that you had also sat outside the room. And as I cried and wailed, or whatever I was doing, that you said you could feel it inside you. And that's how it ended, kind of, for you as well.
By opening up and accessing my humanity, by first of all saying, hey, you don't have an excuse to not know what's going on inside you. You don't have an excuse to not know what's going on inside your own body. And so by sitting and opening that door, the rush of what you were feeling came in, and I saw and I felt, I'm not going to say saw, I felt what you were going through. I felt your grief, and I felt your pain, and I felt why.
But what did you feel for yourself?
Because I was feeling, I felt capability. I felt connected with myself. I could feel my own blood in my veins. I could feel the person that I could be. That's your answer. I felt the person that I could be. In fact, I felt the person that I was, that I just never allowed myself to be.
And marriage was the plug. In our case, marriage was your plug.
Yeah. Yeah.
So essentially, the marriage coming to an end was the only time in your life that you ever felt the rush of yourself and freedom.
When I'm marriage too.
Damn, I'm a controlling bitch.
No, listen, it wasn't the marriage coming to an end that made me feel like that alone. It was you bearing yourself to me, you being honest and saying, hey, ouch.
You did more like, ouch.
That's correct. That's correct. And I saw that, and I felt that. I made it. That's one of the first choices I've ever made.
And then it was done.
It didn't feel good to be done.
Almost 20 years we went through misery.
2 decades.
2 decades. All we would have needed to do 1 year in is just stop it. 2 years and just stop it. But well, it's another topic.
That is
for
another video.
time.
You keep going to different places, and we will be going there. That was that weekend. I feel like there's more in that weekend. It's not just.
No, we'll refer to it, I'm sure, but we've never talked about it.
I like talking about it.
Thank you.